Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Angela. I live in garden in North Texas in zone 8, and today I'm going to be planting a few plants, and I thought I would bring you along with me. So first, let's take a look at the plants, and then I'll show you what all I have here and what I'm using and why I'm using it. Okay, so first off, there is an existing plant that the homeowner wanted to keep. So this is a Podocarpus Yew. It's a plum yew that's like spreading. So I went and got some more of those, and these are pretty large specimen. I wanted to make a statement immediately instead of waiting on it. So let me grab the tag off and show it to you. So these are spreading Japanese plum yew, and it says they'll get about 3 foot tall and 4 foot wide. So from the center, if you go out about 2 feet on each side, that's about how big it'll be. And I want these kind of touching up here. So this is the plant, spreading plum yew, full part sun. And it says it gets 3 foot tall by 4 foot wide, and it's good for USDA zone 6 through 9. So I am in 8. I'm right in the middle of that. So that is ideal. And it's hardy down to -10. So that's wonderful because here in North Texas, we don't know if we're going to just get to 10 degrees or we're going to get down to, I don't know, -2 like we did a few years ago. So these, once established, should be heat and drought resistant, so that's good. Okay, so next I'm going to be planting this Japanese maple. This is a Bloodgood Japanese maple, and they get about 15 to 20 tall and wide and have red colored leaves. So the foliage should be coming out pretty soon. It looks like it's got lots of new growth coming. And I'm going to amend the soil here because I did a soil test and the soil is a little alkaline. These prefer a little bit more of a neutral to acidic soil. So I'm gonna give this some iron immediately to give it the nutrients that it needs to do well. Here's the tag on it. So you can see it has the red foliage. And then it's hardy from -10 to -20. Okay, so here on the other side of the yard, we are planting a Camellia. This one is called April Remembered Ice Angels Camellia. And this Camellia is a little bit more cold hardy than some of the other ones that I saw at the store, and I feel like that's important because a couple years back we got down to -2, and it stayed very cold for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days at least. I can't remember now. It was in 2021, and a lot of things like this were damaged from the cold. So this one, being more cold hardy, is excellent. And here's the tag on it. It's got beautiful pink flowers, and it gets about 8 by 8. So we'll be having to do a little pruning, you know, in a couple years probably. And so this one is hardy zone 6 to 10, which is down to -10 degrees Fahrenheit. And these also benefit from more acidic soil. So I'll be amending this one as well. And then I'm also going to be planting some of these. I think they're called Dianella. Let me see. Yeah. So common name is flax lily. And they are variegated leafy type grass-like plant, and it says their bloom season is in the summer. However, these seem to be blooming right now, but they make these pretty little purple berry type things. And then these are hardy. It says 20 to 10 degrees. And so we'll see how those do here in our winters. But I was talking to a lady at the nursery when I bought them, and she was saying that, you know, you can't kill them. So hopefully that's true because they're very pretty. So we're going to put a few of those down on each end where they already have 2 crepe myrtles. We're going to put a little bit of these around there. Okay, and then lastly, we've got a few ground cover plants. This is creeping thyme. It says it's a trailing perennial. It's called creeping phlox subulata. And this is hardy from -30 to -40. And so I've got 10 of those. Here's the tag on it. And hopefully they'll do well and come back. And then we've got some dianthus. This just says dianthus spp, which means species. So it's just like whatever dianthus they happen to plant. They don't have the actual cultivar on here. And this says mounding perennial. And it's these spread 18 to 24 tall and wide. Oh, I forgot to mention these spread 8 inches high to 24 wide on the creeping phlox. And then this says tolerates frost on here, so these might not come back. They might come back. Depends on our winter. So here's the tag. Okay, so like I said, we're going to amend the soil. Last year, I got a soil test here, and I sent it into Texas A&M and had them tested, and it came back with the nutrients that I need, and they were really low on nitrogen, and then their pH is around 8. So I need to give these plants extra nitrogen, and then also give them iron because the pH is high and it binds up the iron in the soil. So I'm going to put some composted cattle manure in the hole and mix it with the native soil, and then top dress with organic compost. And then I'm going to add to the planting hole biotone starter fertilizer, and then ironite. And then I'm also going to give them just a boost of iron immediately. I'm going to fertilize the whole bed with plant tone. And then the blooming plants, the small ground covers I just showed you, I'm going to give them a little Osmocote just to give them some extra for blooming. All right, so let's get to work. So instead of digging with a shovel, I like to use my auger. This is a power planter auger. I think it's 5 inches. It does not have the heavy duty tip. They didn't have that whenever I ordered this one. And so I don't have that one. I've been using this for, oh gosh, 4 years? Something like that now. What is wrong with my drill? So when you use this chelated iron, be careful because it dyes things red. So don't use it right up against, like, you know, white stones or white bricks or something like that. because it will dye things red. Let's see, what's it say? This says it's a dry water soluble powder, 8% iron. And directions: apply annually in the spring, prior or at the time for spring growth. Do not apply more than twice per year or at least 60 days apart. And it says for shrubs, 4 ounces. So I think this is probably a 1 ounce measuring cup. So I'm going to put a couple of scoops for each one. And I think I'll put some extra down here for the Japanese maple. Okay. So in this flower bed, there's drip irrigation lines. So that's what this is. This is a 1/2-inch irrigation line. And then this is electricity for low voltage landscape wires. So when you're digging, you need to be careful. Also, it's possible to run into the underground tubing, which would be PVC pipe for the irrigation system, because I think that's in here too. Not sure, but probably. Okay, so when you're planting, you want the depth of the hole to be even with where the level is on this plant already. So we're going to do like a little test fit, and then we want the outside to be twice the width of it. So that's about right. And then we'll set it and take a look. Make sure we have the front facing in the front, obviously, whichever side we want. And then I think I might rough up these roots a tiny bit, which they're not too bad. I just like to do that just to get them kind of pushing outward. If they have a big like mat on the bottom, you know, you want to get it loosened up some. Put it down in the hole. It's about level with the soil, and then we'll just scoop in what we removed out. And when we scoop this in, all that amendment that we put is getting mixed. So we'll just scoop it off the top of the surface, and then we'll kind of pack it in around this root ball and mix it up. And then make sure there's no big pockets of air. And I'm going to come back and put a nice layer of compost on top of all this. So it's a little high, but that's going to be fine because we're going to put like at least 1 inch of compost on top. Same thing with this one. Okay, these roots look okay. Just gonna rough it up a little bit. And I don't recommend, when you're planting something, I don't recommend removing soil out of the flower bed. I just plant it a little high and mix it up in there with the existing soil. The auger helps a lot if you have clay. And then pack it in a little bit. Mix it all around. Next. Oh, this one's existing. Okay. And then normally I wouldn't have to dig out by hand so much, but my auger was acting weird, or my drill. So I'm gonna have to get a new one. But I'm gonna keep using it today because that's what I've got with me. I don't want to go home to get another one. Okay, so this one, just push everything in and it mixes up. And last year when I talked to these clients about this, I came out and put like 2 cubic yards of a good compost from a bulk place, local, on this flower bed, because like I was saying, their nutrients are kind of off, and the compost is very helpful and fixes everything. So I put straight compost down and I let it sit here for, I don't know, 7 or 8 months. So anything I'm putting in this hole has compost mixed in. For the Japanese maple though, I'm going to put some of this composted cattle manure in that hole. So as I'm scooping this out, it's mixing. See how it mixes? There's a roofing piece from whenever they changed the roof out. Okay. Everything's nice and crumbly. I wonder if I can get my auger to work a little bit more. Get that spot. This drill is going out. Let's see what we're dealing with now. Okay. Now, I haven't looked at these roots. Let's see this on. Okay, so here's how to plant a Japanese maple. You look at the root flare and you want to make sure the tree comes down and then has a slight arch before the soil starts. And you want to leave that root flare exposed. So I'm going to plant this a little higher than the surface of the ground, to where if this does seep down some, this root flare is always going to be exposed. I'd rather have it mounded up some and allow that root flare to always stay exposed than sink down, because if it sinks down, this is going to get covered up and get rotten, and it's going to end up killing your tree. So next thing is, for a Japanese maple that's been in a pot like this, the roots will start circling around. And if you don't address that now when you're planting it, it's going to end up choking itself out. It's called girdling roots, and it will kill your plant. And if it doesn't kill it, it won't thrive. It'll just sit and not really grow and not do well, and branches will start dying out, and it's a big mess that you don't want to deal with. So I'm going to pull this out of the pot and I'm going to inspect the roots really well. and then we'll plant it. Okay, so we've got it out of the pot, and we want to look at it. So hopefully you can see this has real nice roots here, but they are circling, and so we want to make sure we feel around. Let me see which side. It's best to lay it down. I don't want to break it, you know. We're trying to help it be prettier and not break it. Okay, so we'll just get a hori and cut down in it and see. This feels really good, actually. Sometimes you hit like big giant roots that have been girdling, and that's not good. And also, I feel like this was planted a little deep at the nursery, so we're gonna expose that root flare like we discussed. So I'm just rubbing, let's see if I can show you. I'm just rubbing the top to get the soil off of our root flare. Okay, here's a big root. Let's see what it's doing. It feels like it just hit the side and then went out. So I'm gonna pull the root hairs and all that off. Don't break, please. Okay, and I just want these to be able to go out easily and rough it up. And this is not going to hurt it. You're helping it. So don't be scared to get a little rough. These roots on top need to be going downward, not upward. Oh, sorry about that, Bubba. Okay. That's a beautiful root flare. Okay. Now we've got this so much smaller, we're going to have to pack in dirt at the bottom, soil at the bottom, because this is all soft and we're mixing it. And then we're going to place our tree. We're going to make sure we've got what we want in the front, facing in the front. And that looks a little, that looks good. Okay, so the soil level is down here, and it's going to come to about here. I think you can see that, hopefully. And then we're going to come in later with a new batch of compost to top dress. That's a rock. Okay, and then we just put this, and we make sure the roots that we started out moving outward are outward. We just scoop everything in, including the soil that was in with it, and just mix it. And then we kind of pack it in, not too firmly. I'm just using my fingertips. We just want to make sure those roots are able to spread outward, and it anchors the plant. It gives it nutrients. Okay, so hopefully you can see the soil was up here. I pulled it down several inches, exposed this beautiful root flare that comes down, and then I'm going to put some compost near, but not on, the trunk of this beautiful tree. And there you go. That's how you plant the Japanese maple. put that in there. Okay, so camellias like acidic soil, and this is not acidic. So I'm going to put a couple of scoops of chelated iron in the planting hole. And then I'm going to mix it in with the biotone. And then we got to scoop out some of this. My auger is too hot, it stopped working. Or my drill or whatever. So, that's fine though. More than one way to get a job done. Just do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. And then put in some of that with the fertilizer. Let's see what we got here. Always look at the roots on your plants, you guys. Okay. Chop them up. You gotta make sure this camellia is gonna spread these out and grow big. It's got like a layer of root mat on the bottom. You want to make sure all these roots don't just keep growing in a mat. Okay. And then set it down. I'm going to face that flower towards the front a little bit. It's got some buds on it. That one already, I don't know where they are. Anyway, okay. So, set it down. And then we're going to pack all this soil. There's a landscape staple. And we're going to come back and put compost here, about up to here. So we just want to make sure there's no big air pockets. And there she is. Pretty, pretty. I wonder if this is cooled down enough. Let's see. No. Nothing. I just changed the battery, so it's not the battery. Okay, I'm going to spread some of this cattle manure around. This is high nitrogen, so it should help. And the best way to amend soil is with compost. Compost, compost, compost. It makes sandy soil into good, rich organic soil. It makes clay soil loosen up and turn into good, rich soil. It makes loamy soil into more organic matter in the soil, so it's good, rich soil. Just if you have soil issues, compost, compost, compost. Also, putting a good thick layer of compost down helps keep the weeds down. It keeps the soil moist throughout, and it also helps the temperature and helps regulate temperature around your roots, because you don't want the roots to burn. So compost, compost, compost. All right, I'm just gonna mulch compost, whatever you want to call it, the other side. And then since my drill quit working, I need to go home and get another drill, which I have another drill, but that's not the one that was designated for my auger. So I'll finish planting the flax lily and the dianthus and creeping phlox once I go home and get my drill. So maybe I'll bring you guys along for that ride too, if you want. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me plant these beautiful plum yews, the spreading, which means is prostrate plum yew. This is a Bloodgood Japanese maple, and then the Camellia. So thanks so much for watching. I really, really, really appreciate it. You have no idea. It's cool to have people actually liking and subscribing to my channel. So I enjoy learning and talking about plants. So this is going to be fun. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.